как раз хватило.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Well, more people get their news from 1010 Wins and from any other radio station in the nation. Madison Petta is our writer this morning. Justin Schrager is working the editor's desk. And I'm Scott Stanford.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Good morning, 68 degrees. It is 9 o'clock on this Friday, June 26th. I'm Susan Richard. Here's what's happening. Tenants may have been cheering, but now those rent landlords may file a legal challenge against the rent freeze that was voted on by the Rent Guidelines Board. A Supreme Court decision setting off another fight between the Trump administration and New York.
We can finally remove these Haitian illegal migrants from the United States.
No matter what this decision brings in the weeks to come, you are not going to face this alone.
The High Court said it's okay for the feds to end temporary protected status for Haitians and Syrians. A federal judge orders the DOJ to hand over unredacted versions of some of the Epstein files. Word that Luigi Mangione was this close to copping a plea. A suspected member of the Gambino crime family now charged in a handbag heist at the Chanel flagship store. In sports, Mets and Yanks both lost. AccuWeather still a spread to rain, otherwise clouds breaking for some today, 83 degrees. 9:01, let's check this commute, get you where you need to go. Here's Russ Meyer.
We are all back up on Route 80 in New Jersey. This is the eastbound, the westbound side of Route 80. The westbound side makes it 60, or Route 20 out the makes it 50. Route 19 is out with a crash blocking it. You got Route 46, or even the Garden State Parkway, which is sort of horizontal through that same stretch. Has a couple of alternates. Now we'll flip it around and get you from New Jersey into New York. And here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. George Washington Bridge is down 45 minutes for the upper level, 25 for the upper. Palisades Parkway is about 15, about the same from Route 4, about 25 from Route 46. Lincoln Tunnel is 20-25, and the Highland Tunnel, again, around 25 from Route Glasgow Skyway approach, and the number from the turnpike is down below 20 minutes. And here's what we see on the next big three. It looks like we have a construction still down on the eastbound side of the LI by New Hyde Park Road. Otherwise, the northern state and the southern state, they are doing all right. We got a report of a crash now in Queens on the westbound side of the LI. This is Brian Maurice Avenue. We have slowdowns back towards Queens Boulevard. Russ Meyer, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Make this your summer of unforgettable drives in a Mercedes-Benz from Mercedes-Benz of Edison. Their expert team makes shopping easy and stress-free. One reason they were named the 2026 Mercedes-Benz Dealer of the Year by Cars.com. Visit Mercedes-Benz of Edison for luxury driving all summer long.
The Rent Guidelines Board may have handed Mayor Mamdani the rent freeze he campaigned on, but that does not mean the fight against that is over.
Landlords are now threatening to sue over the result of the Guidelines Board vote. Tenants attacked the meeting in East Drummer were thrilled. Remember, 2-year leases frozen. As for those 1-year leases, the last time there was a freeze, the pandemic year of 2020. This impacts nearly 1 million rent-stabilized apartments. Board member and owner-rep Maxim Wing. These buildings and their owners are struggling. And they needed to protect them as well as an increase in the availability of capital. Policymakers at the city, state, and federal levels have the ability to make the expensive capital investments that these buildings and owners need. Mayor Mamdani releasing a statement that says, in part, it's a historic victory for New York City tenants. So I'm shocked 1010 wins, 92.3 FM.
Word that Luigi Mangione was prepared to cut a deal. Reports say lawyers for the man accused of gunning down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson had talks with federal prosecutors about a possible plea deal ahead of Mangione's court hearing this past Monday, but that the conversation went nowhere. Earlier this month, the defense withdrew their notice that they plan to pursue a psychiatric defense. Mangione's pleaded not guilty to both state and federal charges. He could be looking at life in prison if convicted in either case. Staten Island's borough president was at the Ocean Breeze fishing pier on Thursday. That was to call on City Hall to expand ferry service with new high-tech vessels.
Casella says we need more ferries all across the island.
Probably 20 minutes to clear right on, 29 minutes to 14, 28 minutes to right street. So it seems like there are opportunities to explore.
He says the way to do it is to expand the New York City ferry by using high-tech electric ferries.
The South Shore community is probably one of the worst commutes in the country. The high-speed ferry service in other parts of the city are gaining in popularity.
Staten Islanders we spoke with say they really use it.
Хорошо, хорошо, хорошо.
Now, how do you tell a 70 or an 80-year-old just...
La música. 93.1 Amor, Bachata y más. Gracias por estar con nosotros aquí en la bodega.
Cast in the 2016 election.
The comments were made before the Trump administration appointed him to lead FEMA's disaster response team last December. A person familiar with the situation told the court martial proposals. Phillips has been asked to step away from his role because of concerns about how he's publicly perceived.
As correspondent Harry Russ of Phillips has defended the teleportation claims, saying they reflect genuine spiritual experiences, and one comment writing, haters gonna hate. Separation of church and state could become the latest battle in Texas. That's where the State Board of Education is set to vote on required reading for more than 5 million public school students that include stories and passages from the Bible. Texas already has a mandate that the Ten Commandments be displayed in classrooms. If approved, this reading list would take effect in 2030. A sign of new trouble in the Strait of Hormuz as Iran's armed forces struck a container ship that was passing through.
What we saw was Iran making warnings throughout the day, essentially saying that they were only going to allow passage through the Strait of Hormuz if it went through authorized lanes. Well, the authorized lane that they're talking about are essentially the waters of Iran. And they don't like that the UAE is
agency that was responsible for maritime shipping found that they were advocating for southern off the coast of Iran.
Correspondent Louis Martinez, the strike flew in the face of President Trump's claim that Iran no longer controlled the strait. Secretary of State Marco Rubio speaking last night.
If ships are moving as they should be moving, then that's what we're going to judge and that's what we're going to react to. If, on the other hand, this rhetoric backed up by actual ships being threatened,
Сырок, Дружба.
that's a violation of the agreement, and we're going to have a problem with it.
The attack prompted the UN's International Maritime Organization to suspend its plan to evacuate folks from hundreds of vessels that have been stranded in the Persian Gulf. It also caused oil prices to jump. The cost of Brent crude rose more than 2% to about $75 a barrel. Big grand opening celebration in Washington yesterday. John's Crazy Size opened its first retail store with ribbon cutting on Main Street. The site also houses the company's fulfillment center and a podcast studio, and will serve as the future home of the Abilities Rising Job Training Academy. That's where people with differing abilities will be trained for careers in warehouse and retail jobs.
The door is open for the grand opening at John's Crazy Size. First store was packed. Cat Sequest is Captain Happiness at the store.
Cowboy sock.
Founders John, who has Down syndrome, and his dad Mark Cronin say 50% of their employees have different abilities. And these kids have their favorites. The big smiley face ones.
I like the basketball.
The store is in Huntington Village. Sophia Hall, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM. On that.
Time now for today's Spotlight on the Week, sponsored by Lency.
We are living longer. Your retirement plan needs to keep up.
Retirement that could last as long as you're working here.
Sandy Breaker, an experience in San Francisco, says you should imagine your life after retirement, which can be difficult.
It is an important exercise to look at all the different possible opportunities.
Money is important, she says, but purpose and connection are key ingredients to a successful retirement. I'm Rob Hart.
If you own a business, you've heard it all. From fast funding to easy approvals, everyone says the same thing. LendSeek is different.